Well, what are you doing, George?
Cleaning up some broken glass.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, if you haven't heard about the title of the video, we're going to be working on the Lamborghini Huracan. And what we got going on today is a lot, and it's a very stressful thing because one, we're going to have everything that we did on that quarter panel pulled back off the car, make sure everything gets stripped off the door that we're going to be pulling off, and get this thing inner door jambs behind the quarter panel all sprayed in. And also, we have a big dilemma. There's a radiator bracket cage that's almost $2,500 used. And I'm gonna try to save it money because I don't like the factory one that we just, tacked on there to hold the radiator. But we're gonna go ahead and see if Richard can get that thing saved for us, because he said the material should only be like $15 to $20. And we're gonna see if we can save 2,500 bucks. So stay tuned, let's jump straight to the video and you guys can see the whole process and tag along. So if you guys watched the last video, you know we left off on this quarter panel. We did the body work, we welded both metals together to make one quarter. And as you guys know, the bottom of this behind this quarter is black and that's obviously green. Well, you're not gonna notice it because there's gonna be a fender liner, but I wanna make sure everything's done exactly to OEM spec. So I'm gonna repaint the bottom of that and then blending it in over to the side of that on the back side, even though no one will ever see it, but that way it's done right. Same thing with the door. We're gonna take it off the car and spray in the inside of the door. We don't have the glass in there yet. We're still waiting on Lamborghini since they sent us the wrong one. But this way, we can bolt everything on the car, the quarter panel, the door, and the fender. The rocker panel we can have off on a stand, and we can actually get a nice blend when we actually go in and paint the outside of the car. And on top of that, when you have all the inner stuff all painted, and easily I could take this off, but take the door off right now and paint it all at once on a stand, kind of like this. But I don't want to because this will limit scratching not happening. So if we can just go ahead, paint underneath it, line everything up, put it all back together, and then just paint the outside and peel off the masking, we are good to go. Yes, it is a little bit more steps, but this is also a Lamborghini, and we want to make sure everything's done properly. So let's go ahead, take this quarter off, take this door off, and start getting this thing prepped up for spraying it in. Alrighty, so we got the door all disassembled, all the weather stripping is off. The only thing we have left in there is the wiring harness. We took off the regulator, the airbag sensor, all the little trim, little lock thing that was over here, took all that off over there. Little plastic plugs. The only thing we didn't take off is the wiring harness, but this is easy because when I'm painting, I can always pick this up and get underneath it. Same with this, really easy to get to. And I taped this over here so we don't get anything on the back side. Those are our original hinges. Let's go ahead and wax and grease this and scuff this thing down and spray it in. So here's actually our old cage, and we're gonna actually get this cage refabbed up because one of these goes for about $2,000. And once again, guess who's doing it? Richard the Man. What do you think?
I think we can rework it and make a new one out of this.
Especially the cost of $2,000.
Yeah, it'd be a lot cheaper than $2,000.
Oh yeah.
Sure you on that.
Is it really complicated, you think, or no?
No, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I think what we'll do is we'll use this 1x1 aluminum tubing.
Yeah.
We have some 1/2-inch, round bar that we'll put in, and I mean we'll just duplicate what they've got, and we'll make it stronger.
Oh, okay. Well, sweet. Well, I'll drop this off with you, and I'll see you in a couple days.
Couple days. Give me a couple days, and we'll have it done.
Sweet. Dang, guys, take a look at our cage, and that's the one that I temporarily just attempted to weld. First time cutting out pieces and stuff. Obviously it didn't look really nice, but we wanted it to hold the radiator. And Richard saw this and he said, man, what kind of welds are those? And he came over here and allowed to do this right here. I mean, this is like a master's piece. Even all these bolt holes are exactly the same as that. Explain how you did that, man. That's awesome.
Well, what we done is we used some 1x1 tubing. This one right here called for 1x1 and then 1x1.25 inches, which is really hard to find. So what we end up doing is just using all 1x1 for the whole frame. We did have to offset a little bit to adjust for the distance of the 1.25 inch tubing. But as far as this tube right here, we could not find it. This is something custom that Lamborghini pretty much made. So what we done is went back with just a 1/2 inch solid round bar.
And that's hollow on the other one?
And this one right here is hollow. This is a solid. So it should be a lot stronger in theory. So yeah, I mean, like I say, we matched up the bolt holes, all the inserts to exactly, as close as we could get them. We'll know for sure once fitment goes in. But like I say, we did have to adjust for the thickness of the material.
That's awesome. And all the bolt holes and everything, like even when you put this right on top of each other, obviously this one's a little bit bent up, but you can see they all line up really nicely all throughout. So I think it's going to be a great lineup, especially when you install it. I don't think we'll have any issues at all.
No, I think it'd be pretty close. And like I said, we had to use your existing bracket because we didn't have a chance to get to making this. If we had a little bit more time, we could have duplicated the bracket, but like I say, I was just ready to hurry and get it back on the road and to see it run.
So what do I owe you? $2,500 for that?
We'll talk about that off camera.
You got the money hat on, so it might be time for me to pay him some money today.
Might be time to pay up today.
Man, Richard did a phenomenal job. Take a look at that. Once again, outperformed. Everything lines up, even everything buttons up. All the measurements are to a T. As you guys can see, all the bolt holes and everything that he had marked all line up and worked out perfectly. And that's a $2,500 bracket. I had this one over here that was the broken one. This was split in 7 different pieces that I tacked up with my welder. Obviously, I'm not the best welder there is, and I have to use scrap pieces. I cut out a little piece of the door. As you can see, a slit there, just because I was missing a whole chunk there, and I wanted something to hold this radiator. So while if we're taking it to get the key made or transporting it to Richard's shops and stuff, I don't want that radiator just hanging on to those hoses right there. There's only 2 hoses that it hangs out to, and I don't want it just hanging there and just flopping around and just damaging the condenser or something else behind it, the lines, the fans behind it, and everything else. So only other thing we have left now is put up this quarter panel on here, put the door on there, and line up everything one final time, bolt it on there, and we're all done with bolting everything on. All right, the door is all assembled as far as we're gonna go. We're still waiting on the glass. We still gotta take that one back when the new one comes in. But I don't wanna put the speaker on or the covers because we're gonna take that right back off anyway. So that is as far as I'm going with the door. And if we lined up everything properly, when we close this door, it should latch exactly where we wanted it to. Let's see. Boom. Right on the money. That's exactly what we want. Opens and closes nicely. That's all done. Let's go ahead and get the quarter panel on here. Wow, guys, take a look at this. This fender is the one that we got from the UK, and it's a perfect color match. And the hood gaps on this thing, they're very close. We have not even tweaked with them or messed around with the hood gaps besides this fender when I was installing it. But a little bit of adjustments off camera and we'll get this thing perfect. Fender to doors, perfect. Fender to the pillar is perfect. The door gap to the quarter is perfect. All this up here is perfect. I mean, this is an aluminum quarter panel, and when you're welding aluminum, splicing it in half, you got to be so careful because a little bit of heat, it'll warp in. And Richard did a phenomenal job on this with his, fabrication skills, our bodywork skills, even the top lines up perfectly. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and get everything on the car, get the inner jams all painted. Like, I could have taken everything off and painted it yesterday when we did the inner jams and then slapped it on, but to get a perfect paint job, it takes time. It's a lot of prep work. And what you want to do is, especially on something like this, we're going to be blending this into the fender. So this door is basically body work, and I'm going to blend it into the fender. Same with that bumper. When we get the bumper back, it's going to get blended into that fender. And just easier to flow with the gun as you're spraying, as we're blending this quarter, blending the top over there. It's just going to be a lot easier when everything is off, basically on the car. Because if it's off the car, yes, you can panel spray it, kind of blend it in, but you get a better blend and a better paint job when everything's on the car. And on top of that, you don't risk scratching anything upon reassembly and trying to line up your gaps and everything else like that. So line up your gaps, do all the hard work. Yes, it's extra work, but it'll pay off in the long run. Take a look at what came in, and no, it's not the wrong side this time. It is not the driver's side, it is the passenger. So let's go ahead, throw this in here, because we've been waiting for this thing for at least a week. You ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go and throw it in.
Heck yeah.
Well, what are you doing, George?
Cleaning up some broken glass.
So what happened?
So what I think happened here is, what I think happened is when we dropped it in here and it was getting tightened up, it might have just twisted a little bit, and I guess that's all it took is just boom, the thing just blew up. You're
Really?
sitting there on the phone, all of a sudden you heard.
Man, this sucks. I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm actually to the point where I was actually grabbing a saw. I'll show you guys what I was working on. And no, it's not a saw to mess with him. I literally grabbed the saw right here to cut this out. The battery for the Milwaukee saw was sitting right where George was at. And this guy thought I was going to cut off his leg or something.
Probably will.
I don't know. I'm just trying to laugh this off. I mean, that's an $800 glass. We drove twice to go pick it up. 1 hour and 9 minutes each way. And the first time they sent us the wrong glass. The second time, this guy breaks it. You get to say you broke out glass on a Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool flex, I'd say.
Man. Well, we'll wait till the new glass comes in and we'll see what happens. George over here wants to file workers' comp because if you look at his hands, I guess he got cut.
Covered in glass, it's just itchy right now.
Well, good thing is you don't work for me, so.
That is true.
Well, what are you working on here?
I'm just trying to level this all out so you can have a nice sign to put on the wall.
He's trying to make up for what he did.
Yeah, you got to make something good out of the broken glass.
Man,
Cool
well,
little sign.
I guess it's going to look good. So you got your tape measure here. You got some tape, I guess, to mark your spots.
Yeah.
What are you using as a T-square?
I'm using a hammer and this guy right here. So we don't have a T-square apparently, so we're just going like this, and it looks straight enough to me, huh?
I think the sign will look pretty good right over there on that wall somewhere. I guess George got tired of also cleaning this up because he just hopped onto that over there. If you look over here, there's actually still a ton of glass in here. And a ton of glass that he took out in there, and probably a ton of glass in there.
Oh, there's plenty of glass in there, on the floor, inside there, all the little nooks and crevices. It's gonna be a pain in the butt.
So you decided that let's not finish this one job after you destroyed it. Oh, man.
Workers, right?
Workers. Oh, you're not a worker. You don't work for me.
Yeah.
That's a Lamborghini sign right there.
That's beautiful.
Let's hang it. Well, we got the Lamborghini sign up there. Take a look at that. Turned out pretty good, didn't it?
That looks really nice.
I decided to still leave the Ford Mustang sign there because technically we do still like our GT500 Mustangs. I mean, those are pretty killer cars. But at the same time, if you don't want, if you're kind of embarrassed, you don't want your friends and buddies to know that you kind of like Mustangs, all you do is you open up the door. No one can see that you have a Mustang or you like Mustangs.
Don't even see it anymore.
Cut out another one from my good friend George over there, who's about an hour and a half in and still cleaning up glass.
It'll never stop, man. It just keeps coming.
So I figured I'd give you a gift even though you broke my glass.
Why, thank you.
I'll give you that right there. And if anybody else wants them, we'll have 2 more of these. Make sure you, maybe we'll do a giveaway. I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool.
Alrighty, so we got the shop cleaned out somewhat and got a lot of the stuff away from the trailer, like tools that were everywhere around it. And what are you working on right now?
We're trying to get the seatbelt retractor out. It seems to be locked up on them.
Oh yeah, it's only the driver's side one though, right?
Yeah, just at the other one. Seems like it's working pretty good.
Nice. Besides that, we're gonna go ahead and get this pulled out. Does it look pretty complicated?
It doesn't look too complicated. I think the most sketchy or dangerous piece is going to be getting out this trim piece. You don't want to break that, of course.
Yeah, you don't want to break that. The seatbelt retractor actually is right behind this spot right here. You can actually see it. So you're gonna have to get this tray out of here. That's pretty much it. Not too bad.
Not bad at all. Just a matter of taking your time, being gentle with it, you know?
Yeah, you got to. Make sure you don't break that glass either.
Just give me a minute, I'll break it for you.
That's the last one. You see that?
Hey, they have the driver's glass, we know that.
There's actually a truck out there that's got a ton of glass. Well, he rolled the windows down. He broke the glasses on it already. There we go. It's a dual stage seat. So you got 2 of these right there. It's locked up. Let's go ahead and get this shipped out so we can get the new one in. Dang, guys, take a look at what came in. We've been waiting for this for a very long time. All the way from Lamborghini. Doesn't that look like a key in there? There should be one more. I think it's the blade. Let's see. We got this. Oh, yeah. There we go. And then you got the blade portion of it. Let's see if this actually unlocks the car. I'm not too sure. Maybe we still got to take it and get it programmed from what I heard. But let's just try it anyways. Alrighty, so let's go ahead, connect the battery in here, and see what happens. So we got power. And I'm not too sure if this is actually going to go ahead and work out or not. But let's go ahead and try it. Nothing. And this is probably as expected because I was told that we're still going to need to take this car in to the dealership and get this thing programmed. And this is basically the reason it took forever was because they need to cut the blade out of here. The key comes also from Italy, and then you got to prove ownership, and I guess they like to keep track of all this stuff. But next step, head straight to the dealership. So I'm going to call them up, try to get an appointment scheduled, and get this car on the trailer actually driven all the way down to the dealership, and hopefully we can fire this bad boy up. So while the key did not work as expected, I mean, it has to be programmed as what I was told by Lamborghini. What we're going to go ahead and do now is actually go ahead and throw the bumper on there. We're not going to put all the bolts in there, but just throw it on there, connect all the sensors that we took off, because I was told that there may be a possibility that the key programming may not accept the program without the rear bumper and the tail light and the seats being in there. And the seats are still at the upholstery shop, and we're still waiting on that, but they should be back in here shortly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start throwing some stuff on there, just putting it on loosely. On top of that, it allows us to see the lineup of the rear bumper to the quarter, because we never put the rear bumper on after we spliced the quarter. So everything up here looks great. Hopefully this looks great. So let's go ahead, throw this rear tail light on, the rear bumper, and see how it looks. there you have it. The bumper is all installed, and this bumper is gonna tell us how well of a job we did on our quarter. Now remember, when we put that quarter panel on, that was 2 pieces that we fused together and had it like done. It takes a lot of skill to do that right there. Trying to set the gaps, trying to make sure nothing warps on you. All that stuff is critical to getting a perfect gap fitment. And it's aluminum, so it's like a pop can. It's very thin metal, so it pops in and out. Too much heat, it'll warp in. So that's the biggest factor. So this right here will tell us, and our bumper gap is perfecto on this side as well. The other reason I know how everything on this quarter panel went smoothly, the lineup right there is perfect, just like the other side. Same with the bumper to the quarter gap, the door to the quarter gap, the top of the roof gap to the roof up top is perfect. And even all these little stuff, like this little stuff matters. All the little brackets that hold this bumper, they all went exactly in the same hole position that it should. Same with this bumper bracket. And remember, when we put the brackets on the bottom of this rear quarter, there's a couple brackets and bolts that hold this. All of them went to the OEM position without any fidgeting at all. Like that means we got a perfect factory exact placement on that quarter. All right, so the next thing we gotta go ahead and accomplish is throwing on the taillight on there. We're gonna have to go ahead and put the taillight on there and the bumper. Like I said before, Lamborghini, they're not used to people bringing a car on a trailer that looks like this to get a key made. They're probably used to people bringing in a car that's, you know, their garage beauty queen that they bought brand new. Well, for us, even though this car is a one-owner car, and for me it's brand new, we're gonna bring it in like this. So we wanna make sure everything's plugged in because the technician was a little skeptical about it, and they were saying how everything has to be possibly plugged in for it to accept the key. Now, from experience, I know that there's cars from the auction, front end's completely gone, rear end's gone, and you can bypass the pyro fuse, jump the terminals, or replace the pyro fuse, and the car will still start. As far as programming it, same exact concept. But just to be on the safe side, we're gonna go ahead and throw everything on there. Plus, it looks a lot cooler when you're driving down there. And on top of all that, everyone's satisfied, and that will get us one step closer to hearing this super sick exhaust system on here. I can't wait to start this thing up. Take a look at this, guys. This Lamborghini Huracan is all completed and ready to hit the road. I'm just playing, guys. But take a look at that. Everything lined up perfectly. Like the quarter panel, that was my major concern because that is a very stressful situation when you're splicing 2 pieces of metal. And like I've already explained it numerous amount of times, huge shout out to Richard for doing that, because take a look at this. That Lamborghini centerpiece right there was the last and final part to it, and it fits perfectly. And I must say, it fits perfectly. All the body gaps are like exactly on point. And if you take a look back around this car, and you take a look at like the bumper gaps, everything on this car is perfect. We got all the rear grille center thing on there as well. I went ahead and put the wheel on there because I didn't want to travel with the jack stand as well. And everything else on here, I put woods underneath here as well. That way it lifts up this door a little bit. So when they get in here to program the keys, the door is able to clear this trailer. And I did the same thing on the other side. The front bumper we do not have yet because we're still waiting on it back from the repair. But this should be good because all it is all of it is just like a temperature sensor that's there, and then parking sensors, which I don't think you really need the bumper to even program it. The headlights are in there. Everything is good to go. And this is gonna look pretty cool driving down the road. I mean, you got a fully completed side, and then you got this side. I mean, it's gonna look awesome, and I can't wait to hear these exhausts, because this exhaust I heard is really cool, sounds really sick, and I just can't wait to fire this beast up. Well, guys, unfortunately, that's all the time we have left for today's video. And, you know, hopefully in the next one, we can get this Lamborghini Huracan started. We got the key in. That was the big weight right there. That was a big holdup to see if this thing actually runs. We got thousands of hundreds of dollars literally invested in this car, and we got stuff coming in such as wheels, tire package. I mean, I don't want to go too much further into detail, but just the parts alone that you ordered, let alone the car that you take on a risk on, without even knowing if the motor or transmission on this car is good, if it's even going to fire up. A lot of risk, big gamble, hopefully a big reward, but you guys won't find out till the next video, so make sure you guys are subscribing, and also comment down below if you think this thing's gonna run or not. Hopefully it does, but until then guys, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.